On January 4th, 2022, I was watching Michael MJD's video about the original story of Windows XP's legendary wallpaper, Bliss. The video is fascinating. The way he explains and covers all about Bliss is so much enjoying. And I was surprised when he managed to go to the real place and recreate the panorama of a beautiful green hill in California. After watching the video, I was speechless, looking at the Bliss wallpaper by how it was originated with so much deep lore behind it. And then I just moved on, doing videos like usual, until something happened. I was scrolling on Twitter just like a normal thing, but then I stopped by a tweet from Windows Aesthetics showing that they started a fundraise to preserve a wallpaper from Windows XP. The wallpaper is autumn. On October 1999, a photographer named Peter K. Burian is testing lenses for his Nikon F90 camera by taking hundreds of autumn line frames in Burlington, Ontario, Canada for Photography Trade magazine. He subsequently submits both the vertical and horizontal version of his photo to Corbis, a stock photo agency, as royalty-free image, and making about 15% profit from every sale occurred based on Corbis' deal. He didn't have that many expectations of photos that he took to attract attention nor became popular, so he went by. Along with taking photos, Burian was a contributing editor for Photolife magazine since 1990, editor of the Photo Buyer's Guide, and so many others. In 2001, Microsoft bought a license to the horizontal version of Autumn for $300, or equal to $451.13 in January 2022, in part of a wallpaper set for an upcoming version of Windows, which is Windows XP. Although when Windows XP is released, the image is not as popular as Bliss, the image is becoming one of the most successful and well-known Windows XP wallpaper. The wallpaper itself contains some big old maple trees, a rustic path that led to a farmhouse formerly owned by the Harris family, who were one of the first European settlers in Burlington. With that chemistry, forms a beautiful autumn panorama from the early 2000s. People would say this picture would be forgotten later on and lost in history. But in between 2006 to 2007, a quest for the autumn began. In the 2000s era, a Vanity Fair journalist, Nick Tosches, sat down with an unknown computer guy after transferring files from his old computer to a new one. Looking at the Bliss wallpaper, pointing at it, and said, "Can you change that thing?" The computer guy changes the wallpaper by going to Properties, Background, and showing him numerous wallpapers. Then he stopped by a gorgeous photo of an autumn landscape and decided to apply it as a new wallpaper. After traveling to places around the world, he once sat on a couch and staring at the autumn wallpaper and fascinated with it, and decided to track down where the wallpaper was taken. When he started to begin the quest, he innocently right-clicked in the wallpaper in a preview and clicked "What's this?" which led to an explanation of a background preview actually is. And after digging deeper to the Windows directories, he found a file called Autumn Properties that reveals a 5 kilobyte Windows theme file. And when he found out what a theme file in the Windows Help and Support Center, it only suggests to check your spelling. He didn't give up. He shaped a team called Team Autumn to help him track down the Autumn wallpaper. One of the members eventually emailed Microsoft to seek for the origin of Autumn, which is redirected to the PR of Wagner at Strom. Here's the email exchange between them and the PR. "Hello, I'm a journalist writing about computer desktop artwork, and I have a question. Can you tell me the name of the photographer and the location depicted in a wallpaper image that comes with Windows XP entitled Autumn?" The exact image is attached. I know this is an unusual request. Any help you can give me will be greatly appreciated. I am happy to look into this request. Please give me a chance to connect with colleagues about your inquiry. Will this be for an article? And if so, what is your deadline and how will the information be used? Thanks for getting back to me so quickly. Yes, this is for an article. My deadline is July 10th. The article is about the ways in which people's desktop wallpaper affects their work habits. This particular photograph is my personal favorite, and I'm going to write about the ways in which it has inspired me and stimulated my imagination while writing. Finding out who took the picture, and particularly where this photograph was taken, will be very important elements of the piece. I will, of course, acknowledge your assistance on Microsoft's behalf and will send tear sheets upon publication. Thanks again. Hi, I'm following up per your last email, and I've connected with colleagues concerning your request. Unfortunately, we will not be able to participate in this opportunity. I apologize for the inconvenience. Best regards. Can you tell me why not? Thanks. Hi, unfortunately, I was not in the decision process for this request, and I'm not able to comment on my colleague's reasoning. I apologize for the inconvenience. I would suggest the web for more information about the image. Best regards. This seems to be a dead end for them, but members of the team start to comment about the wallpaper. There are horses nearby. You can't see them, but there, see that old falling down fences here to the right? That's a horse fence. I think it's somewhere in Vermont. It feels like Vermont. And by that, they are contacting the Vermont State Department of Tourism. Hello, can you please tell me where in Vermont this photograph was taken? I'd like to visit there. Thank you very much. We believe the photo is a stock screensaver that was bundled with MS Windows a few years ago. It's not from our stock library in any case. I have queried the Vermont Life magazine editor to see if the location is familiar to him. While they are continuously seeking for the source of Autumn, it was found as Tender Autumn at something called 7artscreensavers.com. Later on, an email sent by. Can you please tell me where the Tender Autumn was photographed? The reply is fast and friendly. They think the email is similar from Russia. The photos come to us from Opera friends, so I don't really know their origin. But I know the origin of the photos from Fallen Leaf Screensavers. It's Moscow Botanical Garden. Best wishes, Merry Christmas, Roman Rozavsky. And the next step, they ask SI Newhouse if he knows Bill Gates. They also ask people in bars if they know anybody who works at Microsoft. But unfortunately, the email to Bill Gates remained unanswered. They knew Gates owns the picture since he owns the Leonardo da Vinci Codex Sesta. He owns everything. He must know Autumn, at least the picture, if not the actual place. And at least one of the 70 people who work for him, if not he himself, must know where that picture was taken, or who took it. And in the other side, he owns Corbis, which stores about 70 million pictures. So this is a new path for them to search for it. After painstakingly brute forcing 5,000 photos with the Autumn as a subject, he eventually found the photo on a database. It's CB047623 with the name Autumn Leaves Falling on the Road. Unlike other photos which list the photographer, the date and the location it was taken, when he clicked the image to find out about details, he gets nothing but the date it was photographed, October 1999. He tries to contact as many people as possible again, and again, until he got a reply from Microsoft stated that the scene was placed in Campbellville, Ontario. Now all what he needs is who took the photo that can lead him to somewhere he's never been. But by magic, he heard from Anne Schneider, the senior photo research editor of Vanity Fair, telling him the name of the photographer. The person is Peter Burian. Luckily, however, Burian lives in Milton, Ontario, nearby the photo was taken. They quickly drive around Campbellville and Kilbride, as what Burian remember that it tells Corbis that image was taken in Campbellville. But it may have been in nearby Kilbride. But, to their surprise, they were wrong. It's not in both village. But Burian know, quote-unquote, it's 60-mile radius of my home in Milton. The guy who found Autumn has lost Autumn. The time is shrinking as Burian will leaving for Paris in 10 days. But they know they will find a location as soon as possible. Meanwhile, they asked people about the place they were looking for, and then they heard from Jane Irwin, a volunteer archivist at the Burlington Historical Society. Quote-unquote, Kilbride is part of the city of Burlington, but in a rural northern era, accessible only by car. I do not drive and have not been there for perhaps 10 years, but the alley looks vaguely familiar. My best guess, based on the fence and the glimpse of an old grey bar at the end, is that it's the lane leading south to the old Harris homestead. The quest still continues through Tosches and Burian to find the original place of the autumn wallpaper. Burian visits the village the following Saturday, and that night, he received the word from Burian that had been waiting to say for more than a year. I found it. The location where the autumn wallpaper was taken was found after years of wanders, emails, and miles of driving. The spot isn't really that different from what it was taken 8 years earlier, with the same farmhouse located at the end of the road while the maple trees is there, but the fences started to disappear. With only one single photo that was taken just for the test, turns out to be a significant success for Burian himself. The autumn image is becoming one of the Burian's most licensed, as he earned about $800 in income for it. It makes a foresight that the image was approximately licensed 17 times. He didn't expect the photo to be such a big deal, even though he subscribed his 15 minutes of fame as fun. Ever since that event, he repeatedly taken more photos at the same spot including the winter version that I showed earlier. He still had high-res copy of the horizontal version, even though it's the rescanned one rather than the darker version that was available on Core Bliss. The date is coming, April 8th, 2014. Windows XP loses its support from Microsoft, along with all wallpaper, including Autumn. That means all the PCs, laptop, computers that are running XP is left behind and being forgotten. Several websites, forums, and even news are discussing about this, because the thing that they are growing up with was being taken from them. Since then, numerous attempts to preserve the image was held, first one being reshoot the image from a slightly different angle by Joseph John in 2015, but with not much different in appearance. A Reddit user, Nayama Mashe, in 2019 contacted Burian about obtaining the high-res version of the image, which Burian offered it for $100, as he can't provide the high-res free of charge. Mashe tried to get donations so that he can pay for it, but the progress hadn't get any update. A specific Google Street View image shows two state-of-the-art location in August 2011 and May 2019, with the almost same spot as where the autumn image was taken. Burian has uploaded his version of the image in 500px twice in 2012 and 2014, with slightly brighter than the Core Bliss version, which the 2014 version is closer to it. But the original photo is stayed intact for years on a French website called Photo Nonstop. The image has a copyright watermark and is still available for purchase up until today as of January 2022. And here is where the Windows aesthetic comes to make a fundraiser to preserve the image in part of saving the legend while it lasts. As of editing of this video, they are about to get 2/3 of the goal. You can help us to preserve it by donating the fundraise with the link to it in the description. And if you cannot donate, share this video to let people know the story behind the image. As we know, a photograph doesn't mean just one single thing. It says so much word and so much stories deep behind it. And sometimes you just feel connected with it and being the one who will be missed and beloved in time.